You've been tasked with creating a marketing email. You want to make sure it gets opened, gets read, and action is taken. How do you do it right? In this video, I'm going to show you how. We all want to create the most effective emails for our marketing, but sometimes they fall short. The thing is, there is a simple structure that you can follow to produce the best marketing emails. I'm going to walk you through each of these right now. The first thing you must do is set a goal for the email. What are you trying to accomplish? Emails that go out with many different purposes tend to fall flat. An email with a single goal or objective for the recipient to do, take, or act, well, that email tends to be more successful. So what is your goal? The most common goal for an email that we send out is to get somebody to click to go somewhere else. We may have them click to go to a blog post, click to go to a page on a website. The act of clicking gets recorded by the marketing automation system, so we know there's interest and intent to learn more. And it also takes them to a page where we have more control and we can give them a lot more detail. You don't try to put all the detail in the email. That's what the website is for. You want to make the email simple, to the point. And the goal, if that is to get them to go somewhere, is click a link and then fill them in on more there. And I'll talk a little bit more about this a little later. As you're designing this email, there are some things that often get overlooked. The first one is, what is the from name and email address? After all, this shows up in somebody's inbox. If it just has a company name there and info@companyname.com, there's a good chance it's going to be skipped over or at least judged as spam. Determine who the person is sending this email. Ideally, it is a person or a person's name, unless it's some form of follow-up from an opt-in, in which case it might be the company name. And then the email address itself needs to look professional, but not salesy. Define this when you're writing the copy for that email. Who is sending it and what is their email address? The next item, the subject line. The subject line, it has only one job. Its job is to get the person to open the email. You're not trying to sell in the subject line. You're not trying to tell them what's in the email in the subject line. All the subject line is designed to do is get them to open. So it needs to quickly engage, and it needs to pique curiosity, and it needs to look like it's not spam. A subject line can have one of 5 different formats. You could ask a question. You could have a command that's telling somebody to take some action. You could tease it with some sort of open-ended phrase. It could be about a list. Top 5 things such and such needs to know before they do X. Or it could be some form of announcement. Maybe it's an announcement about something specific to your company, maybe it's an announcement about a product, or maybe it's a more generic announcement about something in the field where this recipient has interests. The next thing you can do in that subject line is you can use brackets and capitalization to catch a person's attention so that their eye catches those brackets or their eye sees those uppercase letters. And some of the examples you see are more extreme, like discount, flash sale, and some are a little bit more subtle, like new video or case study. You can use a bracketed section at the very beginning of the subject line to catch the person's eye, and based on who that recipient is, choose something that would get them to be interested enough to open the email. Below the subject line in most email browsers is preview text. And many times a copywriter takes it for granted that the preview text is just the first sentence. But the preview text is a tool. It supports the subject line with the same goal of getting the person to open the email. And it's very rare that the first few words in the first sentence of the email are the optimal preview text. Be thoughtful of the preview text. You've created a subject line, you've done your best to get them to open. The preview text should give them a little bit more, engaging further, getting their curiosity, giving a tiny little bit of detail, not so much as they don't need to open the email, but just enough that they want to get more. Make sure when you're writing copy for an email that you always have well thought out preview text. Now we're on to the email body. This is the meat of it. And the email body, again, is supporting that goal, whatever it may be. For the sake of this video, we'll say that that goal is to get somebody to click, take an action, and go somewhere else to get more information about the subject of that email. You want to write this email in second person. The majority of marketing emails are written in second person for a purpose. It's to resonate with the reader. And if you don't know what second person is, that's using things like your, yours, yourself. Anytime you see writing like that, it's in second person. So when you're writing your copy, make sure that you're writing it in second person. Now, the email needs to reflect the personality of the sender. Whether that sender is a company or an individual, it needs to reflect that. And we've done other videos and talked quite a bit in the past about brand script. And if you need to know more about it, well, you can look in the show notes below and you'll see a link on it. It also needs to support the brand voice. And so when you're working with either a client or you're doing this on your own behalf, what is that brand voice? Is it casual or formal? Is it big or is it small? Brand voice and using a brand script are components that are critical to choosing the correct words and flow in that email so that they match. When you write an email, especially with the goal of getting somebody to do something, to take an action, keep it short. A long-winded email is going to end up deleted. Do not write long emails. Keep it short. It should be about 3 paragraphs, not really any more. And each of those paragraphs should have 3 to 4 short sentences. And in the body of that email, use bullets to make it easy for people to see what you're trying to convey. And structure the email with spacing and lines per section so that it's very easy to scan. People typically scan the email first before actually reading it. Make it easy to scan on a phone because 55 to 60% of most emails are read on a phone. So ensure that it's easy to scan so people know, okay, this is something I do want to read, and that it's short enough that they don't get overwhelmed when they open it up. Now remember the goal. We talked about a goal of getting somebody from this email, this authoritative email with a little bit of content that's kind of short, and getting them to take an action and going somewhere else. In this case, going to our website. You want to link to that target early and often. Ideally, there's a link in the first sentence, and then maybe a link further in the bullets, and then another link at the bottom. Make sure that you're linking to where you want to take the people, because they might scan the email and click the very first link without even really reading the email. So it's important that they know what to do and they know how to do it. You use a teaser. One way that we use teasers in emails is you may have a bulleted list. Say you're saying the 5 things you must do every time you send an email. And maybe it's subject line and preview text and write in the second person. And then maybe number 4 has a link. Click here to read more. And they click that and it goes to a blog post on your webpage that has a full, long 1,500 word post that talks all about writing great emails. That's where you tease it. And if they're really interested in what you wrote, they're going to click. And then you get the benefit of them accomplishing that click goal and going to where you really want them, which is your website. Throughout the email, have clear calls to action that support the goal. If the call to action is to schedule appointments, say the purpose of the email is to get people to schedule a consultation, then make sure there's a button in the email to schedule the consultation. Make it very clear what you want them to do throughout the email. And finally, at the bottom, all emails need to have some form of signature. When you're writing it, simply writing the copy for the email and not thinking through the signature, much like the from address, is missing something very important. Emails, even when our marketing emails, need to feel like they're personal. They need to like they're coming from a person. So make sure you've thought through who the signatory is on the email and include it in the copy. After you're all done with this, have a colleague go over it with you. Have somebody else review it. Get an extra set of eyes on it. And ask yourself, does this matter? Is this meeting the goal that I'm trying to accomplish the way I've written it? Don't be clever, don't be cute. Always write for a reader. Avoid the me type of writing, which all you talk about is your company and your product. Think about an individual avatar. That's back to the brand script. When you write the brand script, it speaks to a specific customer with a problem that you help them overcome. When you're writing, visualize that person and make sure that you're writing to that one person. And make sure the content of this email is clearly aligned with the subject line that you wrote that got them to open it. You're making a promise in a subject line. To fulfill that promise in the email, you make sure that they're aligned. And then when somebody clicks to go further, the page on the website is aligned with the click in the email, which is aligned with the subject line. And that's it. That's how you write effective, authoritative marketing emails. I create videos like this all the time. Sometimes they're on business and marketing. Other times they're on personal development and technology. If you like what you saw, I'd appreciate a like. If you'd like to see more of these, subscribe and click on the bell. If there's something that you do that's different, or maybe I missed something completely, put it in the comments below. I love to learn and hear more from others. I appreciate your time today, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.